Admiral Krelton stood on the bridge of the Imperial dreadnought Eternal Dominion, his 4 eyes scanning the star charts with satisfaction. The Zintharian Empire had conquered 47 star systems in the past decade, and today would mark the 48th. Before him floated a yellow dwarf star labeled in the ancient records as Sol, surrounded by several primitive planets. "Admiral, we're receiving another transmission from the Galactic Council," his communications officer announced, her scales rippling with uncertainty. Krelton's mandibles clicked in irritation. "Ignore it. We've heard their warnings 1,000 times. Terran space is off limits. Do not engage the humans. They sound like frightened hatchlings." The communications officer hesitated. "Sir, this is the 15th warning." "The Council seems unusually concerned about this system." "The Council is weak," Krelton snapped. "They negotiate and discuss while we act and conquer. These humans have barely achieved faster-than-light travel. Their longest ship is 500 meters. Ours is 5 kilometers. What could they possibly do to the greatest military force in the galaxy?" The fleet of 300 warships entered the Sol system with weapons hot and shields raised. Intelligence reports indicated the humans had established colonies on their 4th planet, Mars, and several moons throughout their system. Their total military consisted of perhaps 50 warships, most of which were converted cargo vessels with weapons bolted onto their hulls. "Primitive," Krelton muttered, studying the readouts. "Send the standard surrender demand." Within minutes, a response came back. A human face appeared on the screen, female, with brown skin and determined eyes. She wore a simple blue uniform with strange symbols on the collar. "This is Admiral Chen of the Terran Defense Coalition. You have entered human space without permission. Turn back now." Krelton laughed, a sound like grinding rocks. "I am Admiral Krelton of the Zintharian Empire. You will surrender your system immediately, or we will take it by force. You have 1 standard hour to comply." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. "You were warned, multiple times, by multiple species. There's a reason Terran space is off limits, Admiral. Turn back while you still can." The transmission ended. Krelton turned to his weapons officer. "Prepare to fire on their largest space station. We'll show them what real power looks like." Before the order could be executed, every screen on the bridge suddenly switched to the same image. An old human male with white hair and tired eyes appeared. Behind him stood representatives from dozens of alien species, all looking grim. "This is Secretary General Okonkwo of the Terran Coalition, broadcasting to the Zintharian fleet. For the last time, we urge you to withdraw. The restrictions on Terran space exist for your protection, not ours. We do not want what comes next." Krelton cut the transmission. "Fire." The Eternal Dominion's main weapons unleashed devastating energy beams toward the largest human station orbiting their 3rd planet. The beams should have vaporized the structure instantly. Instead, they struck an invisible barrier and dispersed harmlessly into space. "What?" Krelton's voice rose. "How do they have shield technology that advanced?" "Sir, detecting massive energy buildups throughout the system," the tactical officer reported, his voice shaking. "Every human installation is powering up something. Sir, the energy readings don't make sense. They're generating more power than should be possible from fusion reactors." On the view screen, Earth began to change. The planet's surface started glowing with thousands of points of light. The moon followed suit, then Mars, then every station, every outpost, every human vessel. "They're activating weapons," Krelton said slowly. "All ships, evasive maneuvers, return fire." What happened next would be analyzed by military strategists for generations. The humans didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, space itself seemed to twist and bend around the Zintharian fleet. Ships that were light years away from each other suddenly found themselves occupying the same space, resulting in catastrophic collisions. Shields meant to stop energy weapons and projectiles offered no protection against spatial manipulation. "They're folding space!" the science officer screamed. "They're weaponizing faster-than-light technology!" Krelton watched in horror as a quarter of his fleet destroyed itself in seconds. "All ships, emergency jump! Get us out of here!" "We can't, sir," the navigation officer reported. "They've created a spatial anchor around the entire system. Jump drives are non-functional." Another wave of attacks hit the fleet. This time, human ships appeared from nowhere, traveling faster than anything Krelton had ever seen. They weren't using normal FTL drives. They were teleporting, making micro-jumps directly into firing range, launching weapons, and disappearing before return fire could be calculated. "How?" Krelton demanded. "How do they have this technology? They've only had FTL for 20 years. A new transmission forced its way through his ship's communication systems. Admiral Chen appeared again, but now Krelton could see the massive command center behind her, filled with technology that looked decades ahead of anything in the Empire. "You want to know our secret, Admiral Krelton?" she said quietly. "Humans are really, really good at warfare. It's what we do. For 10,000 years, we fought each other with every weapon we could imagine. Nuclear bombs, biological weapons, chemical warfare. We nearly destroyed our own planet a dozen times." Krelton watched as more of his ships were systematically disabled. The humans weren't even destroying them, just taking out their weapons and engines with surgical precision. "When we finally achieved peace and reached the stars, we met the Galactic Council," Chen continued. "They welcomed us, taught us about the greater galaxy, shared their knowledge. But they were terrified of us. Not because we were aggressive, but because of how we think." Another wave of attacks. Krelton's flagship shuddered as its weapons array was destroyed. "Every other species in the galaxy developed technology slowly, peacefully," Chen explained. "They invented FTL for exploration. They created energy weapons for mining. They built AI to help with calculations. But humans? We looked at every single technology and immediately asked, how can this be weaponized?" Krelton felt his blood run cold as he finally understood. "We didn't invent FTL drives to explore," Chen said. "We invented them to move troops and weapons faster than light. We didn't create AI for calculations. We created it to run targeting systems and tactical analysis. Every technology we have, we developed with warfare in mind first, peaceful applications second. Because that's what humans do. We're very good at it." The remains of Krelton's fleet hung dead in space, weapons destroyed, engines disabled. Not a single ship had been destroyed, but they were all helpless. The Galactic Council made Terran space off-limits because they knew what would happen if an aggressive empire attacked us, Chen continued. "Not because they wanted to protect us, because they wanted to protect you. They knew we would respond with overwhelming force, using weapons and tactics no other species has even imagined." She leaned forward, her eyes hard. "We spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war, Admiral. Every other species in the galaxy spent that time perfecting peace. You never stood a chance." Rescue ships appeared around the disabled Zintharian vessels. Human medical teams prepared to board and provide assistance. "You will be escorted out of Terran space," Chen said. "Your crews will be treated well and returned safely to your borders. Tell your empire what happened here. Tell them why Terran space is off-limits. Tell them the humans tried to warn you." Krelton slumped in his command chair, defeated without his ship being destroyed. Around him, his crew sat in stunned silence. They had been beaten so thoroughly, so completely, that they couldn't even comprehend it. "One more thing, Admiral," Chen said before ending the transmission. "Humanity has spent the last 20 years at peace with the galaxy. We like peace. We've built friendships with dozens of species. We share our technology, our culture, our art. We want to be part of this galactic community." She paused, her expression softening slightly. "But if you or any other empire threatens that peace, if you force us to become what we once were, Then you'll discover why every species in the galaxy was terrified when humans reached the stars. We are very, very good at war, Admiral. We just choose not to be. Learn from this. The transmission ended. Krelton sat in darkness, surrounded by his disabled fleet, escorted by human ships that could have destroyed them but chose mercy instead. He finally understood why the Galactic Council had been so insistent, why they had warned him 15 times. The Terran Defense Coalition hadn't shown him their full strength. They had shown restraint, and that somehow was even more terrifying. When the Xantharian Empire received Krelton's report, they immediately sued for peace and withdrew all claims to sectors near Terran space. The incident became known across the galaxy as the Sol Demonstration, a reminder to all aggressive species that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their weapons or technology. It was their choice not to use them unless absolutely necessary. The warnings about Terran space remained in place, but now every species understood why. The humans had been trying to protect everyone else from finding out what humans in wartime truly looked like, and the galaxy was grateful that only one empire had been foolish enough to find out.